Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you are all well. Got another fragrance rotation video for you guys. 2-week block here. So as always, I'm going to leave the name of the fragrances, the day, and the date that I wore them in the description. We'll get it started off with 40 Knots from the House of Xerjoff. This was definitely one of the most popular fragrances a few years ago. Now some people, I don't know if it's really just fallen out of favor, or maybe it's older. People have forgotten about it, but for me, this is always going to be one of the best kind of salty, marine, ambergris fragrances. Definitely get some white florals in here, a little bit of a sweet note, a little bit of density in there, but mainly it's salty, airy, really good use of the ambergris and the florals in there. Don't know too many notes in here. It's hard to tell because they pretty much keep all the notes from the Join the Club series kind of their secret, but kind of with that theme, following it up the next day is Azrak by Boadicea, which I would also kind of categorized as a salty, floral, marine fragrance. This one's a little bit different though. Similar category of fragrances, but Azrak to me, a little bit more fruit notes in there, but it's still not something like a Chanel blue or one of those traditional blue fragrances where it's like overdosed with pineapple and citrus fruits. This to me is still kind of like 40 Knots in terms of it is like a salty, airy, marine blue fragrance. Absolutely gorgeous stuff. If you haven't tried Azrak from the House of Boadicea, one of the better fragrances from that house for that category, but also in terms of Boadicea pricing, this one is actually relatively affordable in comparison to some of their other fragrances. I think I bought that for around $290, somewhere around there, for that fragrance is an incredible price. Third day, on Wednesday, we got from the House of Unique Luxury. This is Akdeniz. Always going to be one of my favorite Beast Mode blue fragrances. A little bit different. It's got thyme in there and leather. So it's got a little bit of green notes and a little bit of richness and density to go along with like the pineapple and the marine notes and the musk and then the woods. This stuff is just absolutely incredible. Tons of longevity, tons of compliments and projection. All these fragrances last and project well. But for me, Akdeniz is just on a different level when it comes to longevity and how that fragrance plays across my skin. Really good stuff if you haven't tried it. That one from Unique Luxury, along with Izmir and Ocean the Rive, the new release, you can kind of all put into the sort of tropical blue kind of fragrance category, but they're all very different. I would say Izmir, most kind of traditional citrus blue fragrance. Akdeniz and Ocean the Rive are definitely a lot more tropical in my opinion. So a newer fragrance on Thursday, or at least a newer one for me, somewhat of a recent release from the House of Boadicea the Victorious. This is Majestic. And I knew I wanted this when I saw the notes on there. It's got some red fruits, or red berry I should say, lemon, oud, leather, I believe cinnamon. I mean, you just got to look up the notes on this. As soon as I saw it, I was like, man, I got to have that fragrance. It did not disappoint, guys. This stuff is absolutely incredible. Lots of compliments on it. I've only worn it, I think, maybe one or two times since I've purchased it. But that one, even though I'll probably wear it all year round because it is powerful enough, for me, just the way those opening notes are, this one's definitely going to get a lot of usage in spring or summertime. So we'll just kind of have to see what the vibe is. I'm going to try it out in wintertime and cooler weather as well because it does have oud and leather. Some heavier notes in there as well, some woods. But overall, man, they chose that name pretty aptly because this is a majestic fragrance. So on Friday, we got a classic from the House of Amouage. Sadly, I do believe it's discontinued. They may have come out with it in the newer packaging, so I'm not sure if that's still true anymore. When I bought it, it was discontinued though. And this is an older tester. Really, really good stuff. This is kind of like my interpretation of what Amouage was doing here. This is like a Middle Eastern barbershop kind of fougere sort of fragrance. It's light, but it's got good power to it, even though it's somewhat of a lighter fragrance, especially for the House of Amouage when you look at some of the stuff that they've made. But tons of compliments. Still good longevity on that one. I don't really like to get into specifics because again, it depends on your environment, how much you spray on. But I easily get 10 to 12 hours out of that fragrance in terms of projection, and then it definitely becomes a skin scent after that. So on Saturday and Sunday, we got two Bond 9s back to back. One of my favorites, Fire Island, and this is a fragrance I don't wear a lot of anymore because it is discontinued, similar to the Amouage Beloved Man. This is always going to be one of my favorite ones from the house, not just because of how I enjoy that type of scent, really beachy, sunscreen sort of scent, just done at the highest level. It's also one of those fragrances that's just serious nostalgia for me. It's something, when I lived down in South Florida, I'd always put this on, after, getting back from the beach, being in the salt water all day. You want to smell nice, but you still want that beach vibe going on. Fire Island is where it's at. So didn't have a particular reason or occasion to wear it. It was just something I thought of the fragrance. I felt like wearing it. And when you have a collection, especially when you have a larger collection, sometimes that's just how it works. Sometimes you just kind of go up to your fragrance collection and one jumps out and speaks at you. And it's like, yep, wearing that fragrance today. And similar on Sunday with Nouveau Bowery. So Nouveau Bowery, lime, thyme, basil, orange, violet wood. I believe there's some oak moss and maybe patchouli in there as well. But this is like a classic men's, little bit modern, chypre type of interpretation. So classic but modern. It's something that I think is going to appeal to a lot of guys that are maybe older. But it's also not going to be something that's going to be maybe a turnoff for the younger crowd. Just a really, really good, true masculine fragrance from the House of Bond 9. Absolute class. So on Monday, second week, Argos Love Triumphs over War. Now you guys know from the House of Argos, man, that does smell really good. I tend to gravitate towards heavier fragrances for the most part. This is definitely more floral. It is powerful, but it's definitely more floral, fruity. Got some green notes in there. It's got cinnamon bark, some musk. I believe it may have vetiver at the base as well. So even though this may not be my favorite style of fragrance, I do enjoy wearing it, and is also one of, if not the most complimented from the house. If you guys watched my old Argos video, it was actually number 1 of my most complimented from the house. And Love Triumphs over War, for whatever reason, what it does in the air, what it does on my skin, people just really seem to enjoy it, and I enjoy wearing it. Again, you look at the type of fragrances I enjoy, Neiman Lion, Donnay, Fall of Phaeton. Of course, I love tobacco fragrances, so Triumph of Bacchus. There's a lot of stuff that personally for me, I rank higher than Love Triumphs over War. But this fragrance is just magical in the air, and people really seem to enjoy it. So next one, a classic from the House of Amouage Epic Man. Doesn't seem to get a ton of love in the fragrance community, but I think the people who do have this fragrance and enjoy it, they really, really love it. And I'm right there. I think it's some of Amouage's best work. I know I have Epic 56, which is supposed to be leaning more towards women. They say it was supposed to be made towards women. I think Epic 56 is actually pretty masculine, but two completely different fragrances. You can't even really compare them. The Epic Man, the one for men, supposedly, and then Epic 56 or Epic Woman, just two completely different fragrances. I don't find them redundant at all in my collection, and I think they both serve a very good purpose. But in terms of the fragrance structure and what I enjoy personally, Epic Man, I would definitely rate ahead of even Epic 56, which is one of my favorite fragrances, and that should just let you know how good this one is. Kind of classic, you get a lot of compliments on it. Really, really love Epic Man. So next here on Wednesday, this is a new one. I actually just did a review on this one recently with Rose Sapphire from Boadicea the Victorious. But this is Roja Parfums Golf Collection, and this is Sultan of Oman. So lots of oud, civet, but I don't think they list civet in the notes, so it may just be the oud and the musk combined. But you guys get the vibe I'm going with. It's a little bit earthy, funky, animalic, but it's also very bright and sweet in the top notes because you got, I believe, grapefruit, orange, and raspberry. This stuff is just incredible, guys. Can't wait to wear this one a little bit more. I think I'm going to be saving it for cool weather, but because it's newer, you'll probably see me wearing it a couple times in the summer just to kind of test out the fragrance. But really, really good Middle Eastern interpretation of a rose oud fragrance. Again, like I said in my video, when I compared it to Boadicea Rose Sapphire, just completely different fragrances, and it kind of shows how broad that category can be of those rose, oud, saffron type of Middle Eastern fragrances. Interesting note in here also that I read, it has carrot seeds. Not sure what that does to the fragrance. I don't know if I would have, picked that out if I didn't read that, but it did have some very interesting notes. So read the notes on there if you're interested. Really good fragrance, especially if you like that category. So on Thursday, Got a rather new one from the House of Boadicea the Victorious. This is the newest one from their Zodiac collection, and this is Opal. Paid just under $600, I believe, for this tester. Really, really good stuff. It's very, to me, I get like a regal dress-up occasion. Does have some coffee, some roasted tonka bean, some woods in there, saffron, bay leaf, so it's got some freshness, cocoa butter, orris butter, so you get a little bit of kind of like a creamy opulence in there. Just a really good blending job and using some quality ingredients by Boadicea, and definitely something for me personally I'll be saving a lot more for dress-up occasions. And just the vibe of the fragrance of the few times I've wore it, for me it definitely seems a little bit more geared towards cooler weather, colder weather. Of course, that's a relative term depending on where you live at. But if you can find a good price on this, I'm not saying depending on how much you like certain fragrances. I would say in comparison to some of the other Zodiac series I have, I wouldn't say this one is necessarily worth the $1,200 retail. For me, like, I really love Hasu and Hanuman, and I like this one too, but I would say those fragrances, if I had to pay retail for them, I would probably buy those two first over Opal. So if you can find a good deal on this one, again, $500-$600, make sure it's legitimate, do your own research. But yeah, that's a great fragrance if you can find it for around that price. So next, from the House of Unique Luxury on Friday, we got Soscentific, and this one is just such an easy grab-and-go fragrance. May not be the most deep or complex one, but there's something to be said about having a fragrance that just smells really good. It's easy to grab and go. It's versatile in any situation. And for me, that's what Soscentific is. If I just want to smell good, I don't want to think about it too hard, I find myself gravitating towards this fragrance quite often. Really smells fruity, floral, got some musk in there too, I believe. Just overall a very balanced fragrance, but it definitely has a lot of deep and rich fruit notes. I think it's got strawberry, peach, grapefruit, and cherry in there. And man, men or women, this is a really, really good fragrance that is an easy grab and go if you just want to smell really, really good. So really nice to have a fragrance like that, because you guys know I do like a lot of the deeper, complex, Middle Eastern oud fragrances, and this is a really nice change of pace to gravitate towards, especially for summer and springtime. That's when I use that pretty much exclusively for those two. I don't really wear that a lot in cold weather. So another one that I wore on Saturday, just because I haven't worn this fragrance in a while, and it just seemed fitting. A little bit rainy where I was at, so it wasn't too hot, even though it's summertime, but this is Bond No. 9, Andy Warhol Silver Factory. It has been discontinued twice because they came back with it when the licensing agreement ran out for the CLA with Andy Warhol, and they came back with it with silver, just a completely different bottle, no Andy Warhol. It was just Bond No. 9 Silver, same formula, same fragrance. So if you've been looking for this and you're not wanting to collect the Andy Warhol bottle and you want to save some money, but you want it to actually wear the fragrance, I would actually recommend going after and looking for just the Bond No. 9 Silver, because it will be a lot less money than what I had to pay for this fragrance right here now that it's discontinued. Now, if you want to collect it and it means that much to you, I've seen these going anywhere from $800 to $1,200 online. It's just getting more and more expensive as we kind of go away from when this fragrance was discontinued. So if you can find a good deal on silver, I would grab it if the fragrance interests you. If you're wanting it from more of a collector's item, then you will be paying more for that particular bottle. So last but not least, yeah, that's a tongue twister right there. Last but not least, Primavera. The Primavera from the House of Argos. Green, citrus, musk, vetiver. Beautiful outdoor fragrance. I would say it does lean a little bit more feminine, but I really enjoy it. It is also very powerful. It's a lot like Love Triumphs Over War. Not how it smells, but even though it is a lighter fragrance, I get tons of projection and longevity out of this one. It is also an extrait concentration, so that probably has a little bit to do with it. But I think it's also the vetiver and the musk and the base just provide a really good structure. And even the top notes, they seem to hold on for quite a long time. Again, maybe that's just the extrait concentration of it, but a Primavera for spring or summertime is absolutely perfect in my opinion. Very similar to Love Triumphs Over War in terms of the situations that you could wear them in, but they smell completely different. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, I'm going to leave the names of the fragrances, the days, and the date that I wore them in the description. and you guys can check it out then. So hope you have a great evening.